Hello, hello, hello. How are you this morning? Are you planning a human garden that you will be able to have an enjoyable harvest? Or are you planning a human garden that's going to give you a karma harvest? Let's talk. Hi, I'm Shauna Grace McIver, and I love being here with you. We've been talking this week about you not getting hard as you find out and discover you have toward them. The value, the value is not there. And so I talked very intense yesterday. Those of you that were with me, I talked very intense yesterday concerning you not getting hard behind people who do not reciprocate in depth like you give in depth. Okay. I hope you have your mug. I have mine. Those of y'all that follow me know mine says every day is a fresh start. And it is. And that's why we get those fresh start, not necessarily so we can wake up, but so we can wake up and make our fresh start just that. We can maintain it. Those who don't have one can get one, and those who have one can maintain it. Ooh, that hot stuff going down first thing in the morning feels so good. Okay, now I talked a lot yesterday about you not being weary and well doing, about loving your enemies and doing blessing those who curse you and do good to those who despitefully use you and persecute you, um, and not being weary in doing that. We talked about that. We talked about that yesterday, and it was really something because um, I thought about how we do get weary, but you can't when you think about you're planting your garden. You get what I'm saying? When you think about you're planting your garden, you say, well, what garden are you talking about? A human garden, a garden where you're going to reap what you sow. Okay. And you've got to be able to sow it, not really worrying about at the time of sowing what you're going to reap. Okay. We had 20 Proverbs. We left off talking about 20 Proverbs 29 and 5. And I want to pull that up and read it so that's the part I want us to talk about because in not getting hard, you got to know how. Okay. And not getting hard, you got to know how to stay soft. All right. Proverbs 29 and 5, this is what it says: a man that flattereth his neighbor spreadeth a net for his feet. In other words, those who are flattering with their mouth, they're spreading nets for their feet because what they're doing is trying to flatter you enough that you won't recognize what they are really doing. They've got that sweetness of the mouth that they you won't recognize what they're doing. You won't recognize it. Okay. They're talking, girl, I don't know what in the world I'd do without you. Oh my God. I really, the Lord really gave me a friend when he gave me you, and all this type of thing to keep you close and giving and not paying attention to how they're not reciprocating. And that's what I want you to zero in on. I want you to focus. Okay? It's all right to give. I heard Reverend Jamal Bryant, Pastor Jamal Bryant, say in his one of his podcasts how his mother told him, watch over how much somebody takes from you, but equally watch over, because it said that the person that's taken from you have no boundaries. Said, but equally watch over your heart that gives, because a giving heart has no boundaries. And when he said that, I went all the way back over my life. I said, well, that fits me. Because I didn't have any boundaries. We were taught to give. We were taught to make sure people were okay. We were taught to give a helping hand and all this type of thing. We were never taught, watch out for how much you are receiving after you've done all that giving. We weren't taught how to monitor our emotions while we gave. I mean, when I think about all that I've given and how I gave, if I could roll the hands of time back like we do on a clock every fall, we roll that hand back an hour. If I could roll their hand back 4 decades, to be exact, I promise you, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. Because if I could go back with this head that I have now and come back up, life would be so different. Oh my God, life would be so different. I'm telling you, it would just be so different until there would just be no explanation for the struggle. You said, well, what's wrong with your life now? My life now is beautiful. But I'm thinking about the decades that it could have been beautiful and now extravagant. But nevertheless, I'm going to live long enough by the help of the Holy Father to get to the extravagant. Just as much as bad as it's been, as good as it's going to be. Because I know better now. See, sometimes we're reaping from our ignorance. We're not always reaping from our knowledge. We reap from our ignorance too. Because there's a lot of things I wish I had known. And you've heard me say this multiple times. There's a lot of things I wish I had known. Okay? At that time, to make better decisions than I made. So you have to take all things into accountability, into consideration, so that you are able to keep yourself from getting hard. Yesterday, I talked about how, excuse me, most time when people get hurt, They put everybody in that boat. Now, everybody didn't hurt you. The only one that needs to be in that boat is the one that showed you who they really are. And even you have to look at how you didn't have the mind of Maya Angelou. When a person show you or a person tells you who they are, believe them. Many times people showed us who they were, but we were tunnel vision. Those of y'all that's been with me, you know I talked about that. We were so tunnel vision that only thing we were focusing on, okay, was how we were treating them. They were telling us all the time how they were. But we were so focused on being who we were that we paid who they were no mind, and we got hurt. So we have to take accountability for that too. We have to. We cannot assume that we are innocent totally in the situation, because we are not. We listened to those flattering words because a lot of times we're broken somewhere inside. We're broken. Either growing up, we didn't get what we needed, or we've become an adult. Maybe we've gotten married and we didn't, if you're divorced, or we aren't, if you're still in it, getting what we needed. We at a job, we don't get what we need. And then here come flattering words. And we soak them up. We soak them up. We drink them because it just feels so good for somebody to act like, act like, act like they see who we are. When that act is just that, it's an act. Because that act has a hidden agenda. Okay? That act has a hidden agenda. It does. It has a hidden agenda. And you got to know that so that you don't allow yourself to get hurt. You got to be where you can see. Excuse me. You got to be where you can see inside of a person. Because when you get that level of discernment, you can cover yourself. Yeah, you can cover yourself. You can make yourself know that you are not getting ready to get hard because that person decided to put on an act. Okay? But you are staying focused. You're staying grounded with boundaries. Okay, I see that person. I see what they're about. So you govern yourself accordingly so that you, excuse me, so that you don't put yourself in a situation to get hurt. See, when you see boundaries, excuse me, are not just to cut people off and keep people at bay. Boundaries are to protect your heart. Okay? Boundaries are to protect your heart. Which means, okay, I see this person, and it's the second time that they've done this. Okay. I see what I'm working with. And okay. So what I'm going to do, yeah. And you know right there, pull it back. I didn't say not to at all. I said pull it back. That means every time they call, you're not hollering, yeah, sure. What you need? How much you need? When you gonna do this? So I know when to be there. You're not doing none of that. If you can, you will. And when you can't, you won't. That's just it. Simple. Then you don't allow your heart to invest so much that when you see you're not getting anything back, that person never, you remember we talked about Jesus and the 10 lepers, how them but one come back. Now all of them got healed, but then but one come back. Jesus wasn't ignoring the one that came back, but he was like, okay, if you thought enough of what I did for you to come back and say thank you, what happened to the rest of them? Why didn't they come back? What's up with that? You get what I'm saying? Excuse me. And so what happens is that Jesus probably had to catch himself. Now, the conversation is not in the Holy Writings, but I can just imagine if we have to catch ourselves, I know he had to catch himself. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just focus on who did come back. Thank you. I'm glad that this change in your life, you saw it and you appreciate it. I don't know what he said. It's not in there. But I just have to imagine that, yeah, that's what happened. And you do have to catch yourself. You have to. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is you're going to wind up getting what I talked about yesterday. Hard. You ain't helping. You not helping nobody. Anybody else, no, I can't do nothing for you. And you ain't even kind about it. You're nasty because you've allowed yourself to get hurt, get hard from the hurt. And now nobody can have anything. Nobody can have anything. And that's not good because, as I said yesterday, you're now causing karma to be your harvest instead of an enjoyable, successful harvest. That's hurting you. You remember we talked about yesterday, those that were with me, that person, they not thinking about you. They going over their life. And the more they ignore you and act like they haven't done anything, the more hurt you get, which makes you more harder if you don't keep a lid on it, as we would say in the old days. Y'all know I'm old school. That's the thing. That's the thing right there. You have to understand. You have to understand. Because if you don't, I'm just real. I'm real. Just as given as you can be with excuses. It's just as hard as you can become with no grace. I want to say that again. Just as given as you can be with excuses, it's just as hard as you can become with no grace. You don't want to do that, because now you're investing, you're planting in that same garden, your human garden, a hard heart. Well, guess what's going to come back? People's hard heart. You say, well, I don't care because they don't like me anyway. That's that person. That's not everybody. That's what you got to keep your mind focused on. You can't allow one person to speak for everybody, because they don't. You ran into a bad apple. Now you're going to let that bad apple mess it up for everybody. Look at what happened after 9/11. You could go in places and then have to worry about going through metal detectors and all this kind of thing. Now you've got to get to the airport almost 3 and 4 hours early, because you got to go through taking off your shoes and taking all this stuff out your purse and computers out of the bag and all of this. All of this. You see, because when it hit, they paralyzed the whole country. Everybody that comes to America didn't come to hurt America. They come because they wanted a better life, and it was over here in their minds. In terms of what's going on now, you almost want to leave here and go to another country. But do you understand what I'm saying? You got to make sure you don't hold everybody accountable for what one person or a group of people did. You can't get hard like that. Even with the folk that did it, you don't get hard with them. You just back it up. That's all. You just back it up. You're not there all the time. No, you can't come this time. No, you don't have it to give this time. Yes, I have it, but I don't have it to give. Don't lie. No, I ain't got it. Yes, you do. But you don't have it to give to them, because you know what's going to happen. They have proved it time and time and time and time again that they're going to abuse your generosity. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. What you are doing is making sure that you do what you need to do. Let me tell you something. You are responsible for your garden, your human garden, which are your everyday interactions with life. You're responsible for that. Nobody else is, just you. Just you. And you have to know that you are going to be able to continue being nice, being kind, being generous, but with boundaries. You say you keep talking about, yes, because you got to guard this heart. Because, honey, if you don't, ain't nobody going to be able to deal with you. Nobody going to want to be around you because you're hard. Here come good people who know about reciprocating generously, whether that's support, money, love, time, it don't matter. They are just open and generous. They're open and generous. You see, they're just open and generous. I want you to understand something. Don't put yourself, as the children used to say, in a pickle where when you get older, you die alone because you allowed yourself to become hard. And people that came to love you and to support you and to give into what you were doing and give to you, you shut them down. And they'd rather be with anybody else and anywhere else than to be around you or where you are. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You don't. And I don't want you to do that. So as we close this week out, I want you to go on in today, rest of this week, into your weekend. Go on into next week. Sunday starts a brand new week for you. And go all the way back until we meet again Tuesday. And I want you to focus on not getting hard. Because in your fresh start, there ain't nothing hard in there. In your fresh start now, there is nothing hard. In your fresh start, you can't contaminate your new image. Your new image can't be that you're now hard and you're this and you can't do that, honey. No. You can't do that now. You can't do that. Uh-uh. This new image that's developing, this more bountiful, happy, inner successful, personally developed image that's coming through every day, you can't contaminate that and you can't stop it. And you will if you allow yourself to get hard. I don't want you to do that. I did it. I'm not that way now, but I was so hurt. I just blocked out everybody. People were trying to get in and I wouldn't let them because I'm like, yeah, you gonna mess around and hurt me too. That wasn't fair. Excuse me. That wasn't fair to them. How did I know that? These were new people who saw who I was innocently, didn't know nothing about what had taken place. Okay? They didn't know anything about what had taken place. You get what I'm saying? And I pushed them away because I was making them pay for what other people did. That's not fair. You wouldn't want nobody to send you their bill and make you pay for it when you didn't incur those charges. You didn't make those choices. You understand me? So as you go on, I want you to focus on not being hard. Be wise, but not be hard. And when we come back Tuesday of next week, God willing, I want you to come back with a better disposition of yourself and the fact that you worked on not being hard. You're wise. You saw some things. You watched out and you stayed soft because your new image has to blossom. I'll see you Tuesday.